we're at a bar, and this guy asked me, well, so what are you, right? And and I said, well, and then my first immediate thought process is in the past I'm used to just saying, oh, I'm Japanese, right? And they just kind of answer the question because you know what they're trying to ask.
You have to decide, right?
You have to decide.
Yeah, it's like a guy in Chevys. Do I have to do? Do I have time?
Japanese, and even that's a minor thing too. People expect you just to say one thing. Actually, it is true.
What nationality are you?
Start adding American into it, people come up with all kinds of weirdness. My response then was, well, I'm Japanese American. And his response was, yeah, I thought there was a bit of Italian in you or something like that. So that's saying then, oh, then part of me is white, so I must be Hapa or half, right? Instead of just full-blooded Japanese American.
Well, I hate that they even ask you, what are you?
Well,
Yeah, what are you? Exactly.
I'm a human being.
I'm an architect. We're especially,
Then they laugh and they say, well, you know what I mean. Where are you from? I'm from Oakland. No, where are you really from?
Yeah, what's your nationality? What's your nationality?
What are your parents? Where do they come from?
You know, if you're Hopper or whatever, it's like, so what does that make you?
Yeah.
You
Say,
know, you want
as soon, why don't you tell me what you are first?
Or do you know? And it's this whole thing about, you are not American unless you're white. And actually, I think even to be American is black, I think is probably accepted now. But if you're Asian or Latino or anything else, any other ethnicity, then you're not American, right? You're still essentially tied to the immigration of when you came over.
And the images and the ignorance is constantly there, and it's put forth to you all the time. And sometimes it's not always direct, sometimes it's not always in terms of a one-on-one confrontation or a one-on-one experience, but it's in the media, it's in all the messages that the society puts out, and it's like you can't get away from it, right?
Well, I was born in Stockton, California, and that's a ripoff being born there and being a minority. It's like being ripped off, It's like you're being kicked every day. I mean, this happened a long time ago, but I could still see this. We're in my family's car. It's this huge station wagon, right? My mom is driving. My older sister's sitting in front. I'm sitting in back. My other sister's sitting right next to me. In front of us is this carload of white, very white, white family. Kids, white kids, younger than us, in the back. And they're, playing in the back, and they're in front of us. And we're getting on the freeway, and they turn around to us, and they all start going like this. And we're all sitting in the car, and I could just feel everyone just freeze and get really rigid. And nothing was said, and nothing was said. And I remember we got on the freeway, and my mom, floored it, man. She, jamming past these kids, and nothing was said at all. And I remember one day looking in the mirror going, fuck, I hate being Japanese. I hate it. And it wasn't so much I wanted to be white or something else. I just wanted to be something different, It's one of those things where we all knew that we were all pissed off. I mean, we're probably grabbed in a car seat like this or something, I mean, it was just in the air. I think the level of intensity in the car just went, shot through the ceiling.
The biggest thing I lost from racism was a sense of culture. I think as I grew up, I realized, or I guess it became clear to me that to be able to fit in meant losing a lot of the parts of culture that my parents were telling me to keep. I was eating dinner with my dad's aunt who worked for the immigration service. It was some of these family dinners, and so I'm there, mostly Chinese people, and she invites some of her white friends from work. And this white woman is just sitting next to me, and she knows I'm a first-year law student and all this. I tell her all this stuff. She says, we're eating dinner, and then we're just eating dinner like we always eat dinner, and she goes, this is such a weird thing, because, my mom used to say that Chinese people ate in such a strange way, they eat like dogs. And then I just found out that's just the custom. That's just the way people eat. I kind of going, holy shit. So I'm sitting at this table with my aunt, right? And am I supposed to fire on this woman? So I just ate it. I mean, I just ate it. And it was not only convenient, but it was also easy to lose it. And going into high school, I was in basically an all-white high school. It was really easy to try to fit in if you dropped all the rest of the stuff and looked like everybody else. And it was only when I got to work in the community that I realized that I had actually lost it. But I couldn't figure out why. I just thought it was me. I thought it was just being lazy or the fact that I just hadn't thought about it enough. It's only recently I've kind of learned that racism has something to do with it. That racism made it that much more expedient, but also easy to kind of throw off all the trappings of culture. One of the things I used to always lament about when I first worked in the community is that I couldn't speak Cantonese. I still can't. And I say to this day, God, I wish my parents would have made me go to Chinese school so I could use that. And yet, that's a total fantasy because I would have never gone to Chinese school and I would have fought it the entire time. And I probably wouldn't have learned anything anyway because it just wasn't something that I thought I needed. And it made it that much easier to blend into like a white high school and white friends not being Asian.
I think it would have helped as growing up, as kids growing up. I think it would have helped if they would have explained what racism was. You know, so you don't feel like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Why are these kids like calling me names? What's wrong, you know? What did I do wrong? What is wrong with me? And really what I needed to hear was, there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, there's something you should be really proud of. And you know what? I didn't get that feeling. I didn't get that feeling about being really proud and really understanding the enormity and the lineage that I have until I went to Japan.
Recently, I had a Caucasian man tell me that I don't see you as an Asian person. I just see you as a human being. And he thought that he was complimenting me. He thought that that would make me feel really good. And for a while, I couldn't figure out why I was so uneasy with someone saying that to me. I mean, obviously, my God, it must feel good that someone sees you as a human being. And then I thought about it for a while and I realized, but I am a human being. I am a human person. What I don't see from you, what I don't hear from you, is that you feel good about me being an Asian man. You see, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of my difference in being an Asian man. I feel good about that. I love who I am.
And I hear about these people. You know, having surgery so they don't look Asian. And there's people running around going, God, that's really sick, you know, but I understand. I understand, because it's a hard thing. It's really hard.
Like
For
which
me,
ones?
racism is layered also with homophobia,
Yeah.
right? So I get
No,
all
that's
this
right.
practice, right? Because homophobia in the gay community, I mean, racism in the gay community is like better than alive and well. It's like thriving in certain ways, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's in the city and you see it all over the place. And I join with other people in a collective response to racism in the gay community. And so I get practice and empowerment through that way as well.
So you get double practice.
Yeah, I get extra practice. We've been bombarded with these images of what's normal, what's right in this society, what's acceptable. And that those images and that bombardment hasn't been anything about being Filipino. It hasn't been anything about being Asian. It hasn't been anything about being gay. It's been none of those things. It's about being American. It's about being white. It's about being a person who doesn't rock the boat, who just takes all this stuff when you're a person of color.